Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games. With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes, Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEVGamesAU.
My name is Evie, and I'm here with
Zahra!
Caitlin! Woo! I was trying to
I'm waving my arms around.
Yeah.
Woo!
Just excited, sort of wacky inflatable man kind of style.
Okay.
Well, we've got 3 people in the studio.
Yeah,
this is my
it's-
first time with 2 other people, so I'm
Same.
just kind of
It's an exciting time.
yeah.
It's great because I can just not say anything and there's sound happening.
Yeah, Caitlin and I could have a conversation and you can just chill.
All right,
Have a
I'll
nap
just,
under the
turn this
desk.
off.
So much can happen now. It's incredible.
I also feel this weird sense of I've lost control now. 'Cause
That's right.
This is
It's
our
like
show now. We're driving it off the rails.
that
Goodbye.
time the other week when I went on a tangent about Pokeballs and what happens when the Pokemon are inside them, and you were like, "Oh, no!"
I've been thinking about that in fact, I think we should have this discussion right now. I mean, I know we have other things that we need to talk about, but
What
Turning that
happened
down?
are they goo? Or do they have a little apartment in there?
Exactly. It's a big question, and it needs to be answered at Nintendo.
Nintendo. Hashtag answer Z Games questions.
Nintendo, please respond.
And please respond. Where
Please.
Pokemon Go? Help.
Where'd Pokemon go?
Are they goo? Are they just?
Like data?
Are they just very small?
Are they? Yeah, I don't know, and I want to know. I need to know because now when I play Pokemon, my brain's like, no, what happened to Pokemon?
You're listening to Z Games, which is where we talk at length about where Pokemon go inside Pokeball. But also where we happen to talk about the week in gaming news. And we also review lots of games, talk to industry devs, local Brisbane devs, as well as Aussie indie games. We're all about that.
Big fans of that.
Mainly Pokemon and Pokeballs, but
Other things too.
other things cross into our
Yeah.
path.
It's not all just Pokemon.
Yes, and I don't know what's happening anymore, but I am aware that the news is a thing.
Yeah, the news. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to push a button now. This week in gaming news, a complaint posted on Glassdoor reports burnout and crunch at Respawn. Glassdoor is a reviews website where both current and previous employees can share their experiences about working at a company. The complaint was posted by a current full-time employee at Respawn, who are the developers of Apex Legends. The post details that the studio was struggling with the negative side effects on businesses relating to COVID-19. A snippet of the lengthy review says, mostly every other company has extended project deadlines to accommodate for lower efficiencies and general stresses or anxiety during COVID-19, but not on the Apex project. I feel extremely stressed and burnt out trying to keep our seasonal releases on the same aggressive timeline as pre-shelter in place productivity. I currently work 12 to 13 hours a day and there is no separation between my home and work life. Chad Greener, Respawn's Apex game director, has acknowledged the studio struggled during the pandemic. He further addresses the complaint on Reddit, saying that he insisted that Respawn has always had its employees' best interest and health in mind. However, the transition working remotely has been very hard on the team. Ubisoft has a plan to address the studio's culture of misconduct. Over the last month, Ubisoft has been dealing with immense backlash from the games community over a number of its employees being named as abusers. The employees have been since either dismissed or resigned. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot has said, "I am determined to make profound changes in order to improve and strengthen our corporate culture. We already have acted swiftly and firmly, announcing and introducing large-scale initiatives intended to transform our organisation." Yves plans on using a 5-part plan to ensure the safety and inclusivity of all its employees. To summarise this plan, number 1, a series of independent investigations to take place on several staff and the organisation. 2, a review and reorganisation of the editorial department to be led by Yves Guillemot. 3, a transformation of its HR processes. 4, launching of a group-wide anonymous questionnaire to obtain feedback from current staff. And 5, a head of workplace culture has been appointed, as well as a head of diversity and inclusion. US Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, wants to stop US military recruiting through Twitch. AOC is determined to stop the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force from putting its messaging in front of impressionable young people and children. She tells Vice, war is not a game, and the Marine Corps' decision not to engage in this recruiting tool should be a clear signal to other branches of the military to cease this practice entirely. The reps for New York's 14th Congressional District filed a draft amendment that should prevent the military from using funds from the House of Appropriations bill to maintain presence on Twitch or any other video game, esports, or live streaming platform. The committee is due to meet this week, so let's see how it all turns out. If you'd like to take a look at more details on this week's news, head over to the Z Games Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU, or you can head over to the Z Games website, which is zgamesau.net. That's all this week in gaming news.
Wow.
Yeah, lots in the news, huh?
Lots happening.
AOC.
AOC.
Yep.
We love and stand that woman. I wish we had one here.
A woman?
Just AOC.
Women in Australia?
I think we really just the entire. I mean, I don't like to get political on this show because it is for fun and chill times. But if we had an entire parliament full of AOCs, we would be in a better country.
It is nice to see someone who has like a backbone, more or less.
Yeah, and represents, I think, as well, the majority of like millennials and the younger generations and our opinions and viewpoints as well. It's nice to have that voice.
In case anyone missed that, AOC is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she is a US Congresswoman. She's not in any political party in Australia, unfortunately. That's how I feel about Jacinda Ardern as well.
Love her.
So, if you'd all like to leave your countries and come here, that would be fantastic.
Please, ladies.
Please
help us out.
Please.
But speaking to this Twitch and, you know, the US military recruiting through Twitch, it is... I wanted to report on this because it's very relevant to what our military does here in Australia, which is they try to recruit younger people into war, essentially. And I'm not comfortable with it. I receive a lot of stuff. I don't know, while I'm watching Twitch, I'll just be pleasantly I'll be watching streams of like Skyrim or League of Legends, which are very, very distanced from modern day war as you could, and then all of a sudden I get the, you know, join the Navy kind of stuff coming up, and I'm like, whoa, I don't see how this is relevant to the content that I'm consuming, and why it's relevant to the arts, which I'm sure plenty of people out there might have a go at me for whether this industry is arts or whatever. But I do think that it's a totally different realm from like physical like warfare.
I mean, the majority of stuff that I watch on YouTube is like drag queens, and I get military advertising, so go figure.
I'm watching like Animal Crossing videos and like prehistoric stuff, and I still kind of get I also get those ads. It's like join the military, join the Air Force.
Look at all the things you can do. It's like one of the things I could do is not.
First of all, I can't. Second of all, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Third of all, why are you advertising this to me?
Yeah.
You know what's extra funny?
Weird.
It's like a part of my brain's like, why are you advertising joining the military? I'm watching video games to escape reality, and you want me to be like in the most hardest core depths of like reality as possible. It's
very
the
true.
opposite.
Yeah, it is interesting. I would like to know how their sort of advertising algorithms work and how they figure, because it is very targeted. Like advertising on YouTube and Twitch and all of those platforms, you know, you'll talk about something and then it will appear on your advertising like a day later or that afternoon.
The argument for that means that their AI is predicting things correctly. Is what they. So if you're talking about it and it appears in your ad, it's only coincidence to your mind, but in actual fact,
Zuckerberg is listening. Zuckerberg is listening.
Sort of related. I've been getting ads for like baby stuff lately, and I realized that it was because my roommate and we call the cats babies. And it's just. And I just realized this last night. I was just like, it's because we call them babies. And it thinks that we're talking about human babies.
Yeah,
it's like no.
Nat and I.
Get
so
that too.
For anyone who doesn't know, I'm a non-binary person, but with female parts, and I have a female partner who is identifies as a lesbian. Yes. So we have this. We would joke a lot about. Thank God we don't have to get pregnant, and if we did get pregnant, we don't have to worry about any of that stuff, right?
Yes.
But because we were talking about that a lot, and I think it became a running joke for a short period of time, we actually had advertising where Nat was getting Clear Blue.
Oh yeah.
But I was getting Durex condoms. And so I would start Nat and I would start yelling at our phone. So Nat would start yelling, "I'm a lesbian!" Stop it from advertising Clear Blue. I know that's completely unrelated to what we're talking about.
Very heteronormative of the advertising algorithms, I would like to say.
Like you're making some assumptions here.
Super heteronormative. Not about it.
Anyway, it's stopped now. Maybe I've mentioned that. My phone's in my pocket. Who knows what's going to happen?
The other news-related thing.
Yeah, the other news-related thing that I would like to mention is that I've obviously been following, I don't know if anyone, if you've out there been following the every week Z Games. Ubisoft has obviously gone through a series of cultural misconduct issues, so on and back and forth and stuff like that, with people being fired, an investigation going on through an independent company and such. Well, Yves Guillemot, he has a 5-pronged plan. So there's all the things that I mentioned in the news there, they're all happening at once. It's not like we'll do this and then this and then this. It's we're doing all this now.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot to go through in terms of their 5-part plan, and I gave a brief summary of that. If you'd like to look at the full summary, it is available on the Z Games Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU. It's posted on our website as well, so that's zgamesau.net. So you can take a look there at what they intend to do to address this big, cultural issue within Ubisoft. Don't stop playing games because of them. And don't stop playing their content, I don't think. I don't think that, what they create is a representative of who they are. I think this has been a huge oversight. And people sweeping things under the rug for way too long. So they've copped a lot of backlash for this, and I think that they should.
Yeah.
But now I can look at this company and go, look at this plan. Look at how serious, the CEO is about this whole situation and how he so adamantly wants to get this right, and he wants it to be safe for everyone. I mean, he's appointed a head of workplace culture and created a head of diversity inclusion. If that doesn't say something to me about he wants something done and forever, nothing will. So, good work, Ubisoft, on addressing this the best way you can.
Taking the right steps.
It's action is what it is.
Yeah.
Not just like words.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It is good.
We are now... Huh?
Oh, you just I was building
building tension?
Not tension, what's the word?
Suspense.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling.
So I was like, I'm already full of suspense. Thank you. In terms of suspense building for a review that I am going to do. Thank you, everyone. Wow, I haven't had that many claps in this room in a while. 2. Just 2 claps.
Practically applause.
Good thing you didn't do the... What's it when you the clicks? Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Oh my god, we're doing spoken word, beat poetry.
Actually, the review kind of starts like that.
Please read it like beat poetry. If you want to. It's totally up to you.
You don't have to. But it'll be pretty cool.
The game is called Samsara Room. So I'll just preface with that. Samsara Room.
Yes.
Okay. It is by Rusty Lake and Cube Escape, published by Rusty Lake as well. So it's an indie game. Music is by Victor Zahra.
Platforms are mobile and PC, so that incorporates iOS and Android as well as Windows and Mac. And it was released on the 20th of April 2020. And this is a remake of an original version of the game. So this is sort of like redone. To give you a bit of a concept on the genre, it's a point-and-click adventure. It's a puzzle game. It's also kind of weirdly an interactive narrative, but mainly it falls into the category of escape room. So
Yeah.
I'll start off with a little bit of spoken word beat. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Where am I? Is this the circle of life? I have to find a way out. Rusty Lake's unorthodox escape room thriller thing, Samsara Room, is unlike most games of this genre. It's eerie, contemplative, and abstract. I should also mention that there are some shape-shifting, interdimensional, deep diving into a stream of consciousness kind of themes going on, so it can be a bit of a confusing roller coaster. Set in 1935, following the events that have taken place in Rusty Lake's other game called Roots, which is the prequel to Samsara Room, you will follow William Vanderboom's rebirth through an interesting reincarnation life and death cycle. Samsara Room features lots of different puzzles not seen in the original and shows lots of new narrative that fits in well with this Rusty Lake series. Rusty Lake do an amazing job of directing you towards clues or a puzzle to solve. They also use like a simplistic 2D art style that makes me think of magazine cartoon cutouts. The main plot needs little explanation because this type of game's fate is very much determined by your own personal experience. But due to the nature of the story and its bizarre experiences, I'm not even fully sure I can explain what is happening. So, let's just move into some gameplay before we dive into there. From a gameplay perspective, Samsara Room is relatively straightforward. You start off by climbing into a hole behind a painting in the wall, and then you re-emerge into a world without gravity. From that point onward, you begin gathering information about your whereabouts and how to get out of one room and into the next. This point-and-click style escape room feels more like an interactive narrative with lots of sort of thrillery kind of vibes. The game is designed in a way where you must look for clues and collect things that might help guide you into the next stage of the narrative. So basically, there's like a feature of a bookcase, or maybe there'd be like an old clock, and you've got to like open them up and dig through objects and things to find little trinkets, which ultimately you collect in sort of like a storage pouch, and then you'll use them to activate a shelf or something, and then you'll open up into some sort of interdimensional portal. Now, it's all quite abstract, so bear with me. Samsara Room is wonderfully designed. It really encourages you to think about what is happening, whilst providing weird and strange scenes that you struggle to understand. Meanwhile, you are not even paying attention to all the hours going by in real life because you've become so engrossed in finding the next clue or item that might lead you to whatever creepy place you end up. If you do play this game without any context to any previous Rusty Lake games like I did, you might find yourself very confused, and it would appear to have no backstory or anything to really frame the narrative with. In saying that though, I still played the game in its entirety, and that's because it's so interesting and odd that I had to know what was going to happen despite not fully understanding its context. The reason why that's the case, and why it was so easy to play all the way through, is very simple. Samsara Room has a seemingly magical ability to pull you in with intrigue. It holds your attention with confusing riddles that seemingly pull you further into the mysterious mind of the Rusty Lake developers. There are also odd objects that you find in these rooms that also seem to hold your attention greatly. Sometimes you find things like worms, feathers, the sun and the moon, even a dead person. Yes. The combination of the use of these interesting gameplay mechanics, these click and point, and these weird objects that you find couples really well with this super hypnotizing music that completely captivates you. Victor Butzila's composition is delicate, using sparing strokes of piano keys and subtle atmospheric sounds for each room you enter. The music helps you concentrate on the scene at hand while you try and figure out how to solve a puzzle, whilst it also simultaneously keeping you on edge the whole time. There are about 15 other games by Rusty Lake and Cube Escape that are all sort of part of this overarching series of, or if you can call it a series, I call it a sinister and peculiar experience. They're mostly free,
I'm pretty sure they're all free, and none of them have ads either. So feel free to dive into them. They're really, really fascinating. I've also going to provide a link which will be posted on the Z Games Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU. There's going to be a link there that will show you the order to play the games from the Rusty Lake subreddit that might provide some guidance for people who are new to the series. So that will be posted there. I must say, even though I had little understanding about what was originally happening, and after doing some further research on Samsara Room, and it is one of many rooms in the crazy, strange mind that is Rusty Lake and Cube Escape, if you like bizarre indie games that take you on a journey into the unknown, using symbols and analogies to depict life and death, I highly recommend this game and anything else that comes from the Rusty Lake series. I'll just remind everyone again that it is available both on mobile and PC, so that's iOS and Android as well as Windows and Mac. Unfortunately, nothing for Linux. And I think you can get it on Steam, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. I believe Caitlin and Zahra, maybe you know or have played Samsara Room.
I've played the Cube Escape series, and I found it kind of like last year when I was just kind of like, oh, what's this? I'll give that a go. Super spooky, completely hooked. Played it completely out of order.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I loved piecing everything together. It's such a well designed. It's a fragment of a story, and it's so well designed that you want to know more.
It's so fascinating because I actually I didn't find Samsara Room. My girlfriend started playing it at night 'cause she likes escape rooms and games like that on her mobile. And she was playing it and she's like, babe, help me, I can't figure this out. And I was like, what is it? And I was like, what are you playing? It's like, why are you playing some weird stuff again? And I'm playing it with her and I'm like, this is weird. Like, this is quite strange. Weird. I ended up playing through it again all on my own later because I was like, I want to review this. This is such an interesting and it's interesting free and on the mobile. And we don't review a lot of mobile games, so I wanted to really stress to people that like if you're looking for something that's like an experience that can vary between anywhere from an hour to maybe 3 or 4 hours, depending on how you handle the puzzles and stuff like that. It's a great little sort of psychological experience. Yeah. It's really it's so hard to explain because you have all these different rooms and you've got to collect things from this person's life maybe and then shift into a different reincarnation in a different room, so you go through like the cycle of being a gecko and this.
Like the feeling I get from it is sort of what I would imagine it would feel to investigate a crime scene, because you know that something happened and you got to piece together what happened, so you're looking for these little clues and whatnot and you're piecing it together, but then you also end up somehow in a submarine.
Or just in a dead guy. But there's a forest there. Cool. But
it all works well together.
It does.
It's very intriguing.
And because of how bizarre it is, like I remember there's a particular moment where you do end up inside a dead guy and you're like, what? And Nat and I are looking at each other like, but then it's like, wow, that's so weird and interesting. And then you're like curiosity. You're like fully hooked on the curiosity of what's going to happen. And that's why it's so well designed, is they literally grab the player's curiosity and just pull you along the whole way through.
That's what got me as well, because I could not believe it when you said that you were reviewing that this week, because literally on the weekend I was sat on my phone and I was on the App Store for some reason, and I think I was just updating stuff. And you know how when you go into an app it comes up with recommended? It came up and I was like, what is that? That looks cool and weird. So I clicked on it. I was like, it's free. I'll download it. Whatever. I'll check it out. And I literally sat there, same thing, for like a couple of hours just playing this game, just like lost. Like, this is so interesting. And I'm not great at puzzles, so sometimes the internet did help for me, but
it can be like that though.
Really enjoyed it.
It doesn't, even when you have to look up a solution to a puzzle, it doesn't really take away from the experience.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even like when I had to look stuff up when Nat and I were doing it, I was like, oh, I don't really know what's happening here. I'd go and look something up and then I would apply what I'd learned. I still didn't actually learn anything, if that makes any sense. Like, it didn't take away from me not understanding the story, because you don't understand anyway.
No.
Like, you don't understand anyway.
It's very abstract. And the puzzles are all so different that even if you figure out how to solve one puzzle, you're not going to be like, oh, well, this is a cinch, I can just breeze through the rest of the game. You've still got to figure out each subsequent puzzle because they're all so different, and there's different formulas and there's different things you have to do, and it's
interesting ways to consider things. It's a very outside of the box thinking sort of game.
Definitely.
If you're interested, it is a point and click adventure, sort of like thrillery vibes, escape room on your phone. It's free. Just look up Samsara Room. Rusty Lake are the developers, and they have lots of other games, very similar vein, all sort of falling into the same sort of theme. So if you get hooked on that, there's plenty more where that came from. So, Caitlin,
Yes.
I believe you have a review for us.
I do. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
A long time. So,
Hold on one second. It might help if I have your microphone on.
oh my goodness.
That's probably a lot better.
Yes, hello. I am here, present, and have been contributing. So yes, I do. I do have a review for you guys. I am a big fan of walking sims, and that is known, and I have reviewed quite a few of them on this show over the last year and a bit. So one walking sim that I have heard a lot of hype about, it's an older one, came out about 2015. It is called Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. And it was on sale on the PSN store, so I bought it.
Hold on, building suspense for you.
So I bought it and I played it on the weekend and a bit last night as well. It's a game that I was really excited about because I've heard a lot of good things about, and Paul actually said to me, well, let me know what you think, and I'm keen to hear your review because I have some opinions. And I went, okay. I'm sure I will know what that means when I get to it. And I do. I know what it means now. So Everyone's Gone to the Rapture is a walking simulator game where you are a observer, I guess, in a small British village in the countryside. You arrive without any kind of explanation, but the village is completely empty. It's completely devoid of people. And you wander around and you kind of unlock little scenes, interactions with the villagers that were there previously. It is, I will say, right up the top, beautiful. It is a stunningly beautiful game. The environment is absolutely gorgeous. The amount of detail in it is incredible. It's a stunning game, but I have quite a few frustrations that I found with it. Usually with a walking simulator, and I'm talking about games like Dear Esther, which was actually made by the same companies that made Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, the Chinese Room, and what is the other game? Oh no. Chinese Room and the SCE, Santa Monica Studio. So they made Dear Esther, which I quite enjoyed and have spoken about previously.
Yeah, Dear Esther's good.
It's a good game. So it's kind of, this is considered, I guess, a spiritual sequel to this in a way, just in that it's a similar kind of narrative. But they've tried to introduce more interactivity, and that isn't always a good thing for a walking sim. So with a walking sim, you want it to be quite linear. You want to be able to go from one point to the next point, unlocking the story, discovering what you need to discover. Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. It's not quite so linear. It's almost a little bit sandboxy in that you can walk all over the village. You don't have to go in a particular direction. There is a light that flies around the village and guides you in which direction you should be going, but you absolutely don't have to follow it. You can interact with a number of objects, so you can open doors, you can turn on radios, you can push open gates, but you can't interact with all of them. And there's no real indication as to which ones you can and can't interact with.
Right.
So some of the gates and the doors are ajar. Those ones you will pretty much always be able to open and go through. Some are not, but you can still open them.
Right, that's frustrating.
So I have found myself spending quite a bit of time just walking to random houses and trying the doors, just because what if I can go in there, and only to find that I'm not able to. The other thing is that the pacing of the game is extremely slow. It's very slow. So you walk at an incredibly slow pace. I checked the controllers and realized that I could walk faster, and it's like it's not much faster. It's like going from a very leisurely stroll to a
brisk walk.
Not even
brisk.
So it's
regular pace walk.
I guess these are just me being critical, because it is a genre that I love and I'm very passionate about, and I was very excited about this game. Admittedly, I haven't finished it yet, but I do want to. The story is interesting enough that you, after a little while, start to get invested in it and want to know more about what's happened. So where I'm at the moment, there is it's kind of quite timely and feels very current, even though it was made a few years ago. There's an outbreak, like a flu, that everybody is coming down with in the village, and they're in a quarantine. So the entire village has been locked down. No one's allowed in, no one's allowed out.
Interesting. Makes me think of home.
Yeah. So it feels nice and familiar. But so there's actually little things around, like there's bloody tissues in people's houses, and some houses have like quite a bit of blood just around. But there's no people. There's no sign of actual physical people. When you get the scenes triggered, the interactions between the villagers, rather than seeing the physical villagers, you see kind of silhouettes of light, and they speak. So the conversation happens between those two silhouettes of light, and it gives you a little bit more of an insight into what's going on.
Okay.
So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, so that part's quite interesting, but again, it just takes so long to get from one to the next sort of thing. And there are moments where it is incredibly like mind-blowingly beautiful. So sometimes you will reach a point where you have an interactive I don't even know. You can interact with the light that's sort of flying around. So the light pops up and you tilt your PlayStation controller one way and the other, and the light curls up into a small little ball, and then it explodes. When it explodes, you get, again, the light silhouettes of the two people talking, but then like everything is dark around it. The sky is just stars. Like it's beautiful. It's stunning. And sometimes after those interactions happen, if everything stays dark, the sky stays as this huge, incredible lot of stars. And then, oh yeah, here we go. Evie's bringing it up on the computer. And then you walk along this like this lit pathway, and it's really beautiful. And so I can definitely say, you know, as a game, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. The amount of work in it that has gone into it really, really shows. I just feel like they could definitely have made it more linear. So rather than being able to walk in every which way, you can only sort of walk in one direction. And then when there is something you can interact with, maybe the light hovers on it, or maybe it's a bit clearer that that's something you can interact with, so that you're not trying to.
So do you feel like there's not a lot of like direction from the designers in terms of what the player's supposed to do and where to go? Is that sort of what you feel is happening?
Not so much that, because it does show you, like, you have the light ball that flies around the village.
So it's sort of like your navigator in a way.
Yeah,
right.
like a little Navi.
Right.
It shows you like which direction you have to go in. So you can just follow that. But the scenery is so beautiful and the village is so detailed that you just want to go off and explore.
So it is quite
explore.
Yeah, like open world vibe. I totally understand what you mean by slow moving.
We're watching the video on Evie's laptop at the moment, so these
Holy
guys can
dooly.
see.
I don't know if anyone's played The Hunter, which is like a hunting simulator game. You have to move really slowly in that, but that's in order to, you know, not make noise, right? Because you're hunting. This is like, why am I even walking this slow?
This is the fast walking. I'm gay, okay? I walk fast. I have to walk fast. I have to get from point A to B, as I'm sure all of my gay listeners out there will attest. We walk damn quick. We walk damn quick. So
we've got places to be.
we got places to be.
Coffee to drink.
We'll have to be at the Rapture now.
So I can't speak as to like how the story ends because I haven't finished the game. I'm gonna probably do that this weekend because it frustrated me a little bit last night how slow it was. But it is a beautiful game, and if you like walking simulators, this one has won a lot of awards. It won a few BAFTAs, I believe, for voice acting and for audio design, which is pretty awesome for a video game. So I would recommend it purely for how beautiful it is. Just be aware that it is a very slow-paced game. Playtime usually runs from between 3 to 5 hours.
Okay.
So it's quite a long game as well. Most walking sims are sort of around the 2-hour mark at maximum.
Okay. What platform did you play this on?
I played it on PlayStation 4. So it came out on PlayStation 2015, but it was released on, I believe, Steam on the PC 2016. So it's on PC as well if you want to get on that.
Get on that.
If you feel like it, and if you have a few hours to spare,
If you're
just
feeling
meandering around.
very patient.
Very patient.
Just
But
pay
it's
attention
pretty.
to the detail. Like, try and look and, I don't know.
It's pretty.
I'm terrible with patience in terms of games.
Yeah, same.
I
mean,
play Overwatch. That's just, like,
Go
cracked
fast.
out.
So again, like, walking sims, I absolutely love them. And if you want good ones, What Remains of Edith Finch will always be the standard to which I hold all other walking sims. So
There you go. There's Caitlin's standard.
I-
Thank you, Caitlin, for your review today. It's
no
fantastic.
worries.
And thank you, Zahra, for being here tonight.
No worries.
Yeah.
I was happy to be here.
You came in sort of short notice, but, you know, here we are.
Thank you for your review, Evie.
Yeah, thank you.
Samsara.
Thanks,
Thank
team.
you, Caitlin. Just
Thanks.
and thank you,
Thanks,
listener.
guys. Thank you, listener.
Thank you, microphone.
Thanks for putting up with us and for tuning in. We really do appreciate you guys.
Yes, we do. We appreciate you lots and lots. But before we go, we'd just like to say goodbye from the Z Games team. Thank you, everyone, for coming in tonight, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all next week. Thank you again, everyone. Have a good night, and bye.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to Z Games. If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify or follow us on social media at ZEDGamesAU. See you next time.